Alright guys, what you're going to look at today is how you find the arc length of an equation that's in parametric form. We'll probably do arc length and surface area. We did arc length and surface area before in rectangular form. Parametric form is actually a little bit easier for some things. This would be one of them. The arc length formula that we worked with back in chapter 7 said if you want the arc length from a to b, you take the square root. You integrate the square root of 1 plus the first derivative squared. And that left us with some icky algebra. In parametric form, because we are not just in explicit form, it's parametric form, our formula is from a to b of the square root of dx dt squared plus dy dt squared. And this one, even for me, is a lot easier to remember because it looks just like the distance formula. So you have x, your derivative of x with respect to t squared, your derivative of y with respect to t squared. So if you have a problem like x equals the natural log of t and y equals t plus 1, and you want to look at the arc length between t is 1 and 6, you could set up an integral. Your integral would go from 1 to 6 of the square root. The derivative of this would be 1 over t squared plus the derivative of this, which would be 1 squared, and this is all in terms of t. And you could integrate that. You go from 1 to 6 of 1 over t squared plus 1, which is 1 to 6 of 1 plus t squared over t squared, which is, it's a nice integral, 1 to 6 of the square root of 1 plus t squared over t dt. You can then use your calculator or a table. That one I can't really think of how you, let's see. I'd probably use a table or something to integrate that. Or your calculator. Most of you would use your calculator and get that answer. The next thing you need to do...
I think I'm just going to start yelling throughout the thing so she tells me to shut up.
Alright, so another one. Another problem that you can find, arc length, is this one. So you would go from -1 to 0, and the derivative of this is 2t squared plus 12t squared squared. So you get 4t squared plus 144t to the 4th dt. And then you can simplify that. Oops, this would go to 0. I lied. Use your calculator or a table or simplify that and get your value of your integral from -1 to 0, and that'll be your arc length. The other thing you have to do is find surface area. Alright, I have decided you don't need to do surface area, although you could, because it's not on the final. But there is formulas for those. Maybe when you take Calc 2 over, you will learn those formulas.